today's webinar. As you know, Virtuoso is a very important partner with Direct Travel, so we thank them for doing this webinar for us today. Today we have Wendy Romanoff, who is the Director of Strategic Accounts, and Jared Hannell, who is the Cruise Coordinator. They are going to give us an overview of the Virtuoso Voyages book and also the cruise booking tool. So Wendy, when you are ready, if you'd like to go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. I very much appreciate the opportunity to chat with you all today. We have an excellent group of advisors on, and some of you have more familiarity with Virtuoso Voyages than others I know. So we are going to, unfortunately, I'm having a technical difficulty really fast here because I'm trying to advance the slide, and we tried doing it a different way. Thank you. We are going to spend some time talking about what Virtuoso Voyages is, how to use it to increase your sales, and how to book it. So for those of you who are more familiar with Virtuoso than others, hopefully it'll be a good review. And for the rest of you, hopefully you will walk away from today feeling much more confident about how to use Virtuoso Voyages to increase your revenue and how to make it happen. So with that said, we are going to jump right into it. So Virtuoso Voyages is our value-added enhanced cruise experience program. It's what really separates Virtuoso Voyages advisors from all others. In a day when there's lots of discounting, when there are a lot of Costco's out there, when there are a lot of OTAs, it's much more important that you have the ability to sell on added value than on discounting, because as you all know, you experience this all the time, if you earn a client based on discounting, you're more likely to lose them based on discounting. However, when you add value, that's the opportunity to build loyalty, to build referrals, and this program is designed specifically with that in mind. There are three components to the Virtuoso Voyages program. There are the hosted sailings, which for those of you who have been with Virtuoso before were previously called Voyager Club sailings. We have exclusive benefits, and we have headquarter groups. Today, we're going to focus entirely on hosted sailings. As I said, what are they? How do you book them? And then on tomorrow's call, we'll go more specifically into the exclusive benefits and the headquarter groups. So let's start right off talking about the hosted sailings. First, it's important to know that we have 15 partners, 15 cruise lines who partner with us in this program, who offer this value add amenity. And that's kind of a stunning number for us because back in 2014, it was only 5. But right now it's 15. And the reason that it has grown as well as it has is, number one, it has a 94% highly satisfied rate with Virtuoso passengers, but it's also bringing the cruise lines the kind of passenger that they want. They're looking for this cruise guest. They're looking for the guests that you all provide, the ones that book further out, the ones that book higher on the ship, the ones that spend more on a ship. And it's also, as we talk about these 15 cruise lines, it's important to remember that they're the ones funding this program. And as you can well imagine, they don't just have extra dollars to give. They're not just doing this because they're really, really nice people. They're doing this because they want you to use this program as a sales tool. They don't want anyone to ever come on board their ships and not know why they've been registered for Virtuoso Voyages. They want you to use this as a closing tool. So who are these? Well, also want to just remind you, it's 610 of these sailings in 2018. It's not a small number. It's with the 15 cruise lines, we've got 610 available dates just in 2018. And very, very shortly, we will be announcing our 2019 dates. And I am having very real technical difficulties right now to advance the slides. Jared, you may want to come in here and see because my computer just froze. And see what we can do here to try and move this forward. My apologies. Yeah. My apologies. We are going to, I can't, it's frozen. We're very sorry for this. My computer decided this very moment to freeze. If I turn it off and turn it on, will people stay on? Okay, my apologies. Give me 1 second. I am going to flip off my computer and put it back on so that we can advance this going forward. Apologies. There we go. Sorry about that, everyone. Here we go. We should be better now. The cruise lines that participate with us in the Virtuoso Voyages hosted sailing are AMA Waterways, Azamara, Crystal Ocean and River, Cunard Line, Holland America, Oceana, Paul Gauguin, Regent Seven Seas, Seabourn, Silver Sea, Star Clippers, Tauck, Uniworld, and Windstar. As you can see, it's kind of an amazing list. It started, obviously, with our luxury cruise line partners and has grown to include a wide variety that includes river cruises, it includes yacht. Our newest members are Windstar and Tauck this year. Last year, Oceana and joined us as well. AMA Waterways joined us last year, but this is a huge opportunity for you. Just going through, I want to point out Crystal because it's important to understand that Crystal, every single one of their ocean sailings, other than, I think they have like five-day sailings, the rest are all Virtuoso Voyages sailings. Silver Sea Seabourn, about 75% of their sailings are Virtuoso Voyages hosted sailings. Same with Regent Seven Seas. The other partners have anywhere probably from a dozen to 30, 40 dates apiece. So many, many opportunities to book these, and we're going to show you in a moment where you find the dates for those. So what exactly is Virtuoso Voyages hosted? What does that mean? Well, it really has four major components. One is, well, even before we get to the welcome reception, is the host. So the host of Virtuoso Voyages is a Virtuoso advisor who may never, ever, ever say that they are a Virtuoso advisor. If you are a host, you've been trained on this, you're very well aware that a big part of host training goes over the need to represent the entire Virtuoso network. You should feel very comfortable that the host who's on board has everybody's best interest at heart and that you will know the name of that host. Once you book your client, the name of the host, if they've been assigned yet, appears, and you have the opportunity, and we encourage you to speak with that host about your clients. If somebody's celebrating a special anniversary, if they have a special birthday, if they have some mobility issues or food allergies, those are good things the host can know so they can advocate on your behalf. Then once you have the host, the second or third night, there's always a welcome reception. And that's an important part of the Virtuoso Voyages hosted program because it's really about being social. It's about getting to know other people. It's about feeling comfortable in your environment. So you can imagine as soon as you get on board, you get to know people, you see people, you recognize them in the corridor, you may see someone you want to have a dinner with. Welcome reception, an important part of the experience. And as soon as your guests go on board, there will be an invitation coming from the cruise line letting them know about the Virtuoso Voyages welcome reception. Now, you then have the opportunity to sign your clients up for one of four options. They are an exclusive shore event, a car and driver experience, a custom credit, or a shipboard credit. So I'm just going to spend a few minutes talking about the advantages of each of those and who they might be appropriate for. The exclusive shore event is really the premier event. It's the cornerstone of the Virtuoso Voyages hosted program. These are custom curated events, unlike anything people are going to get from the cruise line. These are organized with 84 Virtuoso on-sites around the world with the intent of giving them an extraordinary experience that will build loyalty for you, that they'll come home, they'll tell their friends, they'll tell their neighbors, they'll come back to you because they want this again, you'll get referrals. These are things, imagine your clients being in Italy and being able to visit a private villa where the owner is there telling the history of the villa and taking them through and showing them the art and telling them the stories and inviting them into the garden for a luncheon, or going to a winery that's closed just for Virtuoso Voyages so that the winemaker will talk to your guests about how you make wine and invite you to lunch in the cave. There are so many of these events. You can see in Alaska, there's a private train car just for Virtuoso Voyages. There are cooking classes. And generally with the cooking classes, there's the opportunity to shop in a local market with a chef before the cooking class begins. So extraordinary experiences, really, really a nice thing to be able to offer to your guests. Private car and driver is not available on every single sailing, but it is becoming available in many more. And this is really nice for the client who has already been to a port, maybe already experienced the shore event, because you have clients who like to repeat. And it's a car and driver. It's not a guide. It's 4 hours, and it's perfect for experiences like Sorrento, when your guests have heard about these wonderful Amalfi Coast restaurants. They have the opportunity to take that hour drive, have a nice, relaxed 2-hour lunch and an hour drive back, and it's all covered. And it's because they're working with you, a Virtuoso travel advisor, who registered their client for the private car and driver experience. Another opportunity is a custom credit. This one takes a little bit more work on your part, but it really separates you and differentiates you and really builds appreciation from your clients. What it is working with any Virtuoso partner, be it a hotel, an on-site, a tour operator, even baggage forwarding, to do something very specific for your client. And so the cruise line will determine a set amount. It's usually about $175 per person that you have to work with. So imagine 3 couples traveling together or a large extended family. You come up to $1,000 or more pretty easily, and that's a lovely amount to be able to do a pre-night at a hotel, or to do a custom shore event, maybe a horseback ride or a cooking class or something like that for this particular group of people. Something to be aware of is that it does need to be paid for in advance. So either the client or yourself will be asked to pay the Virtuoso partner for that, but within 30 days of coming back, send in the invoice and it'll be to Virtuoso Voyages and it'll be instantly rebated back to them. The really nice thing about this is because you're working with a Virtuoso partner, you earn commission. So it's sort of a win-win-win for everybody, right? Your client gets an extraordinary experience and you earn, that's being funded by the cruise line, and then you earn commission on it. So it doesn't get much better than that. And then, of course, the last one, I don't have a lot to say about. It's the shipboard credit. And people will oftentimes say to their client, would you like this shore event, a shore excursion, or $150 shipboard credit? And the shipboard credit does vary by sailing too, and we'll show you how to see what that is. And the client may say, oh, I want the money. And the reason they'll say that is because you haven't told them what the shore event is. What we've learned is if you take the time and have the conversation to help make this a closing tool, to help you sell, to make it a value add, and you tell them about how custom this event is and what's involved in it, people are more likely than not to want the shore event. People end up on cruises all the time where their advisor either didn't have the conversation with them or it wasn't discussed thoroughly, end up with a shipboard credit, meet all these lovely Virtuoso guests at the welcome reception, and after the shore event, they're coming back on the ship all excited, talking about the event, and the person will say, well, why didn't I get that? How come I didn't get that? And that's because the advisor either didn't register them at all or registered them simply for shipboard credit. So again, I can't stress enough how very, very important it is to make this a closing tool, to have the conversation with your client to determine which of these things makes most sense for them. It is important to realize that not that there are, on very occasional instances, you'll see that it's a Virtuoso Voyages hosted experience, but it may not be combinable with a certain fare code. Doesn't happen very often, but when cruise lines find themselves with distressed sailings and offer, you know, a too good to be believed shipboard credit of their own, something like $1,000 per person, they on occasion do not allow that to be combined with Virtuoso Voyages benefits. It's so important. If you don't remember anything else, remember it's in any situation, but particularly in this situation, to be sure to read the booking instructions on however you book, whether it's through Virtuoso.com, through the cruise tool, through the cruise line directly. Always, always, always read those booking instructions. It will save enormous headaches down the road. So that's what Virtuoso Voyages is. Now, how do I find out more about it? How do I learn how to make best use of it? I'm going to take you live to Virtuoso.com here in a moment. I want you to be aware of the Virtuoso.com information pages, first and foremost, and I'll show you how to get there. We have pages on cruise sales, and we'll spend a lot of time on that tomorrow. There is a Virtuoso Voyages page on the information pages as well, and that will help you to see any of the information we talked about now, or reminding you how to register. And then I'm going to go to the Virtuoso cruise tool to show you exactly how to book these and where you book these. So right now I'm opening up Virtuoso.com, and I am going to Advisor Tools. So I'm on Virtuoso.com. I'm on the bar across the top, Advisor Tools. First I'm going to take you to information pages. I'm going to go down to cruise sales, and I'm going to go to Virtuoso Voyages. And when I get there, there's more information on each of these things we just talked about. More about the shore event, how to make use of the shipboard credit, how to make use of the custom credit, the car and driver option, some basic policies and training, and we're going to go through how to register here right now. But if you forget, if this isn't something you do all the time, you can come to this information page and get all the information you need right here in terms of how to register your clients. There are also some nice sales tools, and there's even a nice video that you can open up and take the link and send it to your clients to help them better understand what Virtuoso Voyage is all about. You'll do the job of selling them on the specific cruise and the specific shore event, but this will give them a flavor, this will give them a feel for what it is they'll get by working with you as a Virtuoso advisor. So now I'm going to go back to Advisor Tools and go right here to Cruise Booking. And every one of you now has this available to you. Cruise booking is where I'm going. And for those of you who have been with Virtuoso for a while and are accustomed to going here to plan a trip cruises, to search for cruises, we are going to encourage you now instead to come over here to Advisor Tools, to Cruise Booking, because that's where the new Virtuoso cruise tool powered by Passport Online resides. So here I am. Again, all I did was go to Advisor Tools, Cruise Booking, and I'm on the Virtuoso cruise tool. It's a very, very simple search. So let's just do one. Let's look at Europe, and we'll look for next summer. Let's go to 2018. Let's do like June 1 through maybe, let's say, July 31st. If I choose to, I can choose the cruise line. At this point, I'm not even going to. I can choose the ship. I can choose the port. If I know that's a sailing ID, I can go straight to the sailing ID. And it's, again, and as you will see, unlike when those of you who have been working on Virtuoso.com for a while, you see this happens very, very quickly. And the most amazing thing is it now shows you all of those sailings that have a Virtuoso amenity on them. Now, these might be hosted, they might be non-hosted, they might be headquarter groups, but the sailings that populate to the top, they come in because they offer a value-add amenity. You will not have to search for them. You will not have to look for them. They automatically populate to the top. And how do I know that? I know that because they have this blue check mark. Right here under promo, there's a blue check mark. Right here, I see that there's a $75 shipboard credit. But if I go to Crystal, where I know they always have shipboard, well, that one, I'm not sure why, but we'll go to another one here. We'll go to Silver Sea here, and I'm going to hover over, and it's going to show me that that it is a hosted sailing. The host is yet to be assigned. It tells me where the event is going to be and what the other options are. Now, that's just a really, really quick look. If I want more information, I go to info, and all of a sudden, here's everything from the cruise line. I can see the ship overview, the deck plans, everything about it. But what I want you to see is right here under the price, I go to Virtuoso Voyages, see details. And when I click there, I get a pop-up that looks just like this. And now I know exactly what the event will be. I know that if I choose to do a shipboard credit, and there are times when it might make sense to do that if you have somebody who's immobile or who really is one of those people who just sails because they love to sail and they like to stay on board the ship. I also can see the $175 custom credit. In this particular instance, it doesn't seem as though the car and driver option is available. If it were, I would know about it right here. It tells me about the welcome reception. It tells me all the agent details here, all those booking instructions I talked about. It's all right here, as well as the overall terms and conditions. So make sure you're always reading this information very carefully. But now you're ready. You've had this conversation. You've talked to your guest. You've talked to them about what the options are. You've made it a closing tool. You're ready to register your guests. We recommend you do it sooner rather than later. Best if you're doing it at the time of booking, whether you're booking using the cruise tool or booking, making a phone call. Do it early on so you don't forget. There's nothing worse than realizing a week before sailing that you never did this. And at that point, the only option might be a shore event, or maybe nothing if it was capacity controlled. So it is always in your best interest to make sure that you use it as a closing tool and book it very, very quickly. So when you're ready to book it, I will come right here to register your guest for Virtuoso Voyages benefits. This is going to take me right back to virtuoso.com. This is where this happens. So if you're doing it after the fact, if you're not doing it when you're doing the search in your book, you can always look up the sailing on virtuoso.com and get exactly to the same information. So now it took me here. I'm still on that Silver Sea sailing, and I'm going to begin my Virtuoso Voyages registration right here. And now it's just a walkthrough. So it's step 1, 2, and 3. It's going to ask your agency or advisor, and as I click through and agree and give them this information, it's going to take me through and it's going to ask me, do I want that shore event? Do I want $150 shipboard credit, or do I want $175 custom credit? So as you can see, really, really easy. You've got the information page here. You've got the information about your cruise here. Since we're on the cruise tool now, I will give you one hint. If you are searching, you will always see a cached price. This is the best price from the night before. All the data is from a cached price. If I want to see current pricing, if I really want to be live on each of the cruise lines websites, I go to book, and that's going to give me live information. So I don't want to go too much into this, but now I have the ability to see more prices, more on the cruise tool. We do have, by the way, bi-weekly cruise tool trainings for any of you who haven't attended this. Again, going back to information pages. I'm going to go now to the Virtuoso Cruise tool and scroll down, and it says trainings, upcoming webinars. And if you click here, there's a registration link to give you very detailed training on things we didn't talk about today, things like how to manage your booking, how to use emails, how to send out 3 comparisons, all those kinds of things. But that said, I don't want to take too much of your time today. We're going to go over more information tomorrow. But if you have any questions, please do type them into your box. Jared is right there, ready to help you with those. And I am going to, just while he's doing that, we are going to share one more screen here, which is this one. And just, whoops, maybe I can do it here. There we go. What can you do now? What are the tips for success? How can you make best use of this? Remember that Virtuoso Voyages is your secret weapon. Make sure you use Virtuoso Voyages as a selling closing tool. Don't let your client find out about it after the fact. Register your client at the time of booking. It's so important. Read all booking instructions and make sure you reference the Virtuoso Voyages information pages for any questions. Also on the Virtuoso Voyages information page, there, if you scroll down, we'll give you the name of the account managers who work on each specific cruise line. So for instance, if you have a question about a Crystal Cruises, Virtuoso Voyages hosted sailing, Anthony Seclair is the account manager. We have account managers assigned to each cruise line. So if you have very specific questions, they're more than happy to help you. But generally, the information you're looking for is right there on the cruise tool or right there on the information page. So, Jared, are we getting any questions in?
Yeah, we do have some here. So the first question is, with that custom credit, are there special Virtuoso companies that they have to apply this to, or can they apply it to any company?
So great question. It is any Virtuoso affiliated company. So it can be a Virtuoso hotel. It can be a Virtuoso tour operator. It can be a Virtuoso on-site. It can be a Virtuoso affiliated insurance company. It can be a Virtuoso affiliated baggage forward company, but they must be a Virtuoso preferred supplier. But you may work that custom credit with any Virtuoso preferred supplier.
And how far in advance do you Virtuoso Voyages promote? How soon in advance, if they're thinking about hosting, or maybe their agency has a Virtuoso voyage that they have a host for, how soon in advance should they promote for that?
Another really good question. Well, first off, let me say we are entering over the course of the next couple of weeks a lot of 2019 sailings into Virtuoso.com, and by virtue of that into the cruise tool. And so you will see those available to book. And for those of you who are hosts, you will see them available to host. And honestly, we know that your cruise passengers are starting to think about things. For premium, maybe 6 months out, and for luxury, more than a year out. So keeping that in mind, you really can't do it too soon. All it does is give you the opportunity to promote it that much more. There's no such thing as communicating with your clients if you're hosting too much, because you want to make them aware of the opportunity. And just since this question came up, we do host trainings around the country, usually about a dozen a year. And we would welcome any of you who haven't gone through the host training process to do that. It's an amazing opportunity when you're a host to share, to be a Pied Piper, to invite your clients around, to get more of the agency clients and your own clients to travel with you. It's a great way to experience, to build sales that way, and also to experience a ship.
Now, I have a lot of advisors that are really excited about some of the exclusive benefits, and probably will be going over that tomorrow. So stay tuned and make sure you log into tomorrow's webinar. Also, I think it is important that you do mention to the cruise line at the time of booking that you are with Virtuoso, so some of those might be able to be attached, and some of those have booking codes as well, which will be gone over tomorrow. Just wanted to that point, tomorrow is going to be a very important day for learning exactly about combinability, for codes, for exclusive benefits, for headquarter groups. So I really hope you'll be able to join us tomorrow to go over the other benefits you have by being part of Virtuoso. We actually have 19 cruise lines, 19, who have exclusive benefits with us over and above Virtuoso Voyages hosted. We have another 6 where we participate in headquarter groups with them. So a lot of good information about where and how to find those benefits and how to use those tomorrow. Yeah. I have another advisor asking, are you able to change the selected amenity for Virtuoso Voyages? So if they selected a shipboard credit and they wanted to switch to the shore event, are they able to go about doing that?
Well, they can't do it on the ship. So once, as they say, once that ship has sailed, it has sailed. In advance of 45 days, it can happen. Obviously, the preference, just from a workflow, from your point of view and our point of view, is to make sure you've had that conversation with the client at the time of booking. But if you've been listening today and you already booked shipboard credit and you think your client would love the shore event, please do reach out to the account manager on the Virtuoso Voyages information page, and they'll be happy to work with you to try and make that happen.
And I have about time for 2 more questions here. Can a current reservation be converted over to Virtuoso Voyages?
Can a current reservation be converted to Virtuoso Voyages? It's not a matter of converting. If it is a Virtuoso Voyages hosted sailing, it's a matter of registering your guests. Is that the question, do you think?
Yes, I believe that's the question.
Yeah, so if you've asked it and you want more clarity, we have, again, 610 sailings, maybe even a couple more now, that are Virtuoso Voyages hosted sailings. They're listed that way in virtuoso.com and on the Virtuoso Cruise tool. If you have not yet asked your client which option they want to go with, yes, please, by all means, go in now into either tool. I think you'll find it easier on the cruise tool, and get them registered right away. Again, within 45 days, there will only be the option of the shore event, but you don't want to wait until 45 days in most circumstances, because although there aren't many of them, that wonderful private train car in Alaska, that's capacity controlled. We have a few of those that are capacity controlled, and at that point, your client is sort of out of luck. So again, use it as a cruise tool and book it right at that time. Or when I say book it, I mean register your client right at that time.
Okay, and we do have a couple of other specific questions that we will be taking offline, and we'll be answering those. But if you do have any questions or run into any of the issues with Virtuoso Voyages, the registration process, you can always reach out to our help desk at 817-870-0300 or at help@virtuoso.com, and they're always able to send you to the correct entity, whoever might be able to help you out with that process. So feel free. We also have Virtuoso Voyages hosting at virtuoso.com, and we will be answering any questions through that inbox as well.
Thank you. Good advice, Jared. Thank you all for joining today. Really appreciate your attention. Sorry for the technical glitch early on, but we will hopefully not have such a problem tomorrow, and we'll look forward. Tomorrow starts at 11:30 Pacific, just to remind you, not at 11. So we'll look forward to chatting again tomorrow, and hope you all have a great day. Thank you.